Oh man, I am so sorry for anybody who was waiting for me to finish this thing. I got done and got all excited about that water trick that I did in the last video. And if you didn't see that, by all means, watch both videos that came before this one first. It'll just help you out. So, I have a trick. Whether it's a trick or it's just the best way to do it, I don't know. But I'm going to show you. Again, there's my nice damp, primed Berkey filter. And there's a second one in here. And just to make sure you remember, there's a washer that goes on the inside. Well, you got to kind of get that inside there. And if you do anything other than set it up vertical, and you can cheat a little bit and put it on something, but you got to have this thing pretty well vertical. You are squaring, plumbing, however you want to say it, to the best of your ability and centering that filter so that you can put this nut on. Now the nut goes outside of the canister. And it's going to take a minute. And these things are long-winded. So, just remember, you're going to get it close first. Right? Right. And you're going to feel it start to want to go a certain way. Now listen to what I'm saying. You're going to feel that filter try to move. You let that filter move. Okay? Because it's dangling off this nut. And that nut's going to square it up. Trust me. And you're going to be centered. And then you're going to get it as humanly tight as possible without breaking it. I'm telling you. You want this thing tight. It's going to be a pain later, but you want it tight. Now, bonehead, hush. There you go. It's in there. It's nice and smooth. Bonehead, shush boy. It's in there. Show hog. You're going to be the star of the show, aren't you? I'll tell you. So anyhow, I'm sorry. He's always mad. He's always mad, and this is a small house. So, there it is. The filter's in there. Kind of shake. I'm not going to go crazy, but just to show you. It's solid. Okay. Now, going to turn it back up vertical again. Because this is a vert process. For your viewing pleasure, and to maybe make this a little easier for me, second filter. Remember, I'm cheating. I'm using that material to keep from damaging anything. And I'm about to try a method of censorship. I'll knock everything over, but method of censorship there. Quiet down the bonehead. Because he makes it hard to video anywhere, anytime. Might be why I don't bother to edit or do anything special, because I'd be spending the majority of my life editing out him. And it's just how it is. So, here's the filter. It is damp. See a little water on my hands. It has been pressured up. Again, if you didn't see that video, you need to go back, because this is going to change your life. If you have a Berkey filter, or if you've ever had a Berkey filter and for whatever reason didn't have a good means of getting the water pressurized down through that little tiny hole, it'll help. Okay, now I'm going to slide that out. Keep one hand on it so you don't drop it. Even though I'm running into scratch and dent, we are trying to treat this like the fancy one. There you are. Squared up. You got your nut. Looks like that one, right? There we go. Gonna center this up the best you can. And this is kind of a weird angle for you. Now, if you have trouble with your wrists, you may want help with this. I have trouble with my right wrist. My left wrist kind of works better, so I'm okay. But it's no fun. Now, I'm going to tighten this down, and it's long-winded. Remember, I've said that a couple times. In fact, it's long-winded and being kind of difficult, so I'm just taking a moment. Because if you rush this kind of thing, you're going to break a couple $100. You know, well, actually $120. If you want to get filters, you got to buy them in pairs. So don't break your filter. Okay, so squeezing it on up, get it going. And I like doing this mostly with my thumb. It hurts when I do any kind of twist. I broke the bone that allows my wrist to control how it rotates. Now, if you saw there, I just kind of played with that. I can feel it. I know it's getting there. I let it kind of rest where it was going to rest and spun it to make sure it felt even. And then you just tighten the daylights out of it. Everything you got within reason. There's a rubber washer on the other side. It's not moving. And now you have two filters that are secure. You have officially made it through the assembly process. Now, you want to make sure that this tab is not up. You want that down. Because the next process is to run however much capacity you got, which is 3.5 gallons. You got to run 3.5 gallons through this. Get one good cycle. Waste one filtering process. Save the water for washing hands or something, but don't drink. Just one good time you want to run the water through and make sure everything's okay. Rinse this out when you're done. It's a good way to save that water's waste. It's not going to get wasted. Like I said, you put it in something like a bucket or something so that you can wash your hands. You're not wasting the water. You're just making sure that what you drink doesn't have anything left over from the filter. So let's put some water in there real quick. You want to put, and let's make sure you can see the whole process. Okay, bottle or jar of water. There you go. I'm going to raise this up and I'm going to turn it slightly this way and adjust everything. Hopefully that'll be a little better for you. Please ignore the data and network center that's pasted to the wall. It's horrible, but it works. Okay, we're going to pour water in now. The water is cold. It is not hot water. It is as cold as you can get it without freezing it. You don't want ice, you want water. Mind you that however wet or however cold the water is, this is stainless, it will sweat. And I'm saving a bunch of recycling and it's in my way right now. That's what you hear. So, And I kind of try to hit the filters the first time so everything kind of washes off. All right, before you get too ahead of yourself or too full, you want to have this somewhere where you can drain it. So, I'm going to put the cold water in. And if you see the change, you can see the water line. Right there's the water line. Also, don't go by what this water line is. If you lose track of how many gallons you've put into one of these, verify how much water you got in the bottom after this is drained. Add accordingly. Don't just keep filling this up. It'll start coming out the seam right here. Trust me, you don't want to overfill one of these. If your house is 70 degrees, and this doesn't do quite a gallon, so I think I'm safe to put one more in. But if your house is 70 degrees and your water is 10 degrees or less, probably, so we'll say 60, maybe even 50. You're going to have condensation. Now, that's important to know when you're filling up a Berkey, because the condensation may turn into enough moisture wicking from the air to cause a puddle under your Berkey or on the floor. It's also important to know, listen to that. I'm going to try to get close enough so you can hear. The filters are working. And that's what it sounds like when the filters are working. You don't want dirt, dust, and debris to get back into your Berkey. So you take your top and you stick it on it. That's why it has a lid. But condensation on our little bent Berkey thing, our little scratch and denter, is allowing me to draw a smiley face. Now, why is that important? If you can get cold water, extra cold water, into a rag or a shirt or something else, and that particular item can be placed in a bag. So you take a regular piece of plastic, you put the shirt in there, and normally you see this with a rock, but put a shirt in there that's cold, and condensation is going to grab to this. And then if you have another piece of plastic that you can drape under there in a bowl-like fashion, or dig a hole and make a collection area and put a little rock down in there or something to weight that down, the condensation that collects off of your rag will be basically clean water dropping into that other container. Condensation's a good thing if you can control it. So that's a little bit of science mixed with a little bit of practicality mixed with a little bit of hillbilly logic, whatever you want to call it. I'm mopping up my mess in the floor as we speak and treating a shirt as a mop, which is a double feature, I guess. But you can clearly see the line. You're going to get condensation. This is the Scratch and Dent Berkey, fully assembled. It is running water. It was empty. It's no longer empty. We'll take the bowl and see if we have enough to get anything out yet. No. Why? Because sometimes this takes overnight to work. Hush, boy. Again, you're not going to get water out of this immediately. It will probably be overnight before you can get water out of this, because it's going to drip through and the filter's going to be doing its thing and drawing up the moisture and sweating and dripping, and it's a filter. If it was fast, it wouldn't be doing its job. So this is a successful test and a successful process of setting up a Scratch and Dent Berkey. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed trying to make it for you, despite Bonehead out there. And hopefully you will like this video. If I thought anybody would listen to anything I had to say, I'd tell you to subscribe and I'd make more videos. But I had a tendency to treat some things badly last year, such as a Ryobi electric push mower, and ignored safeties and things like that. So people may think I'm a moron. And that's okay too. They're allowed to have their opinion. But I do believe this video was very informative. And I don't have any way that I really want to abuse a Berkey, so we're not going to have an abused Berkey video. We're just going to note that this one took some light abuse before I got it. So there's your Scratch and Dent Berkey. And the Cheat plant spray and water bottle from Home Depot. Glass bowl. Drip some more water in. That was an Anchor Hawking. It's an old bowl. It's very cool. I also like antiques. Not sponsored by any of these people, but let's give a shout out. Everything I own that's power is rigid. Although I prefer antiques, so most of my items that I work with are antique. But I haven't done any videos really on that. Was hoping that I would get some of my mobility back and would be able to do much better videos for that. Well, again, hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.